And welcome back to Controversy, the Speedcast. I am your co-host, Ike Isaacs, and today, as always, we are joined with the man himself, the one-inch Punisher, the two-pump chump, Salsa Shark.
I mean, let's be real. Both of those numbers were heavily exaggerated.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Anyhow, but welcome back, folks. It has been a week since we talked to you last. If you haven't already, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. I'm just going to pour that out right now. Just go ahead and like and subscribe. Follow us on social media, all that good stuff, because we're almost to 200 subscribers, Salsa. It's pretty crazy.
It is insane to think that there are 200 people who give a shit about what we have to say.
True. But nevertheless, 200 subscribers in. We're still rocking and rolling. We're having a good time. And recently I made an adjustment to our upload schedule. So no more Monday videos. If you didn't hear that, you can still obviously expect Controversy on Wednesdays. And then I have my videos on Fridays for conspiracy theories and shit like that. So anyhow, keep an eye for that. Let's see if there's anything new in our lives that we need to fill them in about. Salsa's AC's been consistently working, which is surprising.
Yeah, it's not a very interesting story anymore now that every week isn't some critical anomaly. You know, the fan's not breaking down, the engine's not blowing up, the house isn't on fire. I mean, yeah, we've had the ghost acting up, but
You said the ghost has been acting up?
it's just a little bit. She's been kind of making a ruckus in one of the side rooms, but shit, who cares?
I mean, I care since I'm going to be visiting you pretty soon.
Don't worry. She kind of mostly stays in the front room and just outside my room, but like I said, I still have that makeshift wooden cross that kind of keeps her at bay.
You know, something tells me that if a cross is keeping some supernatural force at bay, something tells me that it may not be benevolent.
Benevolent is relevant.
I mean, I guess let me rephrase that. It may not
relative.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, so I mean that's interesting. So let me ask, what is also, how do you know it's a she? Brain just popped back to that.
I don't know, I just get the feeling, you know.
You're just like, this is definitely a woman.
Woman, yeah, because women are the root of all evil, but also more likely, it's like if you lived in a house for 2 years and every time you have a dream, you see the same woman in your dream, and then you subconsciously think, if I open my door at night and I see that woman standing there, I'm going to freak the fuck out. Wouldn't you think it's kind of weird that your brain subconsciously goes to that woman?
Bro, that's fucked up. So you're now seeing this supernatural entity in your sleep.
I mean, perhaps.
So here would be my recommendation. Get an exorcist, potentially.
Nah. That costs money, for one.
Well, technically, no. Technically, the Catholic Church will provide one if you can provide proof. Let me ask you: have you been having any health problems lately?
Define health problem. Like waking up in the middle of the night suffocating, or
I mean, anything. That would be
waking up with blood on your pillows.
Bro, like, what the fuck?
Listen, that's all just natural stuff that happens. Perfectly reasonable explanations.
If you're a late stage cancer patient, maybe.
Well, who knows? I haven't been tested in a while. The other day, my right nut was hurting me a hell of a lot.
Probably got like swollen testicles. Probably contracted some venereal disease from whomever, whatever man that you bring over.
More like I got a COVID vaccine in Trinidad.
You got the AstraZeneca vaccine, didn't you?
Yo, got that creepy off-brand shit. It's
Shit,
the only
dude.
one that actually takes 3 doses.
And they're all administered to you in a back alley of a Hardee's.
Okay, first off, Hardee's, come on. That's a little too upscale.
Oh, I'm sorry, in the back alley of a cookout.
There you go.
Although, to be fair, I do want to try cookout. I heard their food's pretty good.
I mean, it's edible. It's definitely, it literally is like driving up to a random stranger's cookout and ordering food. The only thing there that doesn't taste like cookout food is their milkshakes, which are pretty fucking good.
Really?
Every time, because when I first moved here, I was in that hotel for like a month,
Yeah.
and just next door was a cookout. So I
Well,
cannot tell you how many times I would be like, fuck, I'm literally about to go out and spend what little money I have on a fucking banana chocolate milkshake, aren't I?
you're like, this is the only thing that's keeping me alive.
I mean, other than that, I was literally just eating like, I don't know, ramen, hot dogs and ramen.
Ramen and hot dogs.
No, that was a special treat.
Yeah, for people who don't understand what we're talking about, if you've never listened to a previous episode, Salsa, we both lived in the Midwest, and he moved down to the Southeast, like the Carolinas.
It's
And
just the South. It's just the fucking South.
but when he moved down there, they didn't have a house right away, so they were living like in one of those stay and live hotels, like the ones that they pay by the week, like stuff like that.
Well,
And
one
go
of the
ahead.
weird things is the reason we couldn't find a house is because the house we had lined up, for some reason, changed their mind after we moved. Like
What?
literally, we moved into the hotel and then they're like, "Ooh, actually, you have too many pets." And we're like, "We told you the number ahead of time." And then we tried to get another house. Wasn't as nice as the first, but still nicer than this show. And they were like, "Oh yeah, sure, let's just do a credit check." They do a credit check on all like 4 of us. And my credit's not great per se, but it ain't terrible.
Right, it's not like the worst.
But literally the reason they denied us is because they ran a credit check on one of us, a woman who is older than 50, and they said she did not have a credit history, despite having in her possession like 7 credit cards.
And you had a credit history?
Wild, ain't it? They looked her in the eye and basically said, "You don't exist."
And like I know the woman he's referencing. I mean, she's been around for a while, and I mean I've heard many.
She's been around for a while. What a weird way to say she's old.
But like I know that like she has had like many different credit cards, and she'll like have a credit card, and she'll like get a different credit card with a lower interest rate to pay off the old credit card. So I mean she has credit history. So it's not like she just was born yesterday or something.
It's literally just the South fucking sucks. Literally in this town, you can drive in any direction for 2 minutes and you will see 5 plantation houses.
That may still be in full operation. We are not 100% sure.
Some of them are now drug dens, some are, yes, still tobacco plantations. Oh
Damn,
well, what can you do?
you die.
I mean, to
But
be fair, nowadays they probably just hire prisoners because that's illegal slavery.
exactly. Don't even get me started on that shit. Oh my god. But so to kind of actually, I think you were going to tell the story. But so when Salsa lived in the hotels, um, he had a cat with him, and the cat, sweetest cat in this whole world. Such an angel. I mean, she's old, but Basically,
you want me to tell the story of how she shit up the wall.
yes, I do. I want you to tell that story to the wonderful people out here.
Oh, okay. So backstory, there's not much to say. She's an old cat. She's been around the block more than a few times. So she needs a regular diet of healthy food to keep her from shitting on the wall. And unfortunately, being that money was tight and we were living in a hotel, all we could afford to give her were these cheap little cans of I don't even know what they were. Some off-brand cat food. So of course, her stomach is constantly rumbling, and the fact that she never once shit on the bed, a miracle. Because there were times where I was laying there and she would be laying on my stomach and just she would bolt up and jump off the bed right into the litter box. Well, one day, because she already had some problems with she was missing the litter box because it was also a Dollar Tree item, so it
Right.
wasn't big enough for her. And her being, dumb, didn't know to just stand with half her body outside of the litter box so that she will shit inside the litter box. Instead, she would stand her whole body inside the litter box, so her asshole's hanging outside the litter box. So I've cleaned up a few messes. And to this day, there's probably still crunchy spots on that floor where I didn't clean it perfectly. But one day, she gets down, jumps over into the litter box, and she's going at it. I'm not paying attention, but by this point, I had just gotten used to the terrible smell. And I knew whenever I smelled it, I just walk over to the litter box, use the scoop, and I would push litter on top of the poop. Perfect. That is
Right.
the ultimate way to get rid of litter box smell.
Yeah, especially, I guess that's a good tip. Sorry to cut in. That's a good tip too, because my cat does the same thing. She doesn't cover her poop all the way sometimes. So it smells like, cat poop. So she's got to go over and scoop some litter on it. It fixes it all.
It's amazing that cats are smarter than dogs, but they're still just fucking brain dead idiots.
Same, bro. Same.
It's like, bro, you have survival instincts that say cover your shit, and you don't. How the fuck would you survive in the wild?
That's the thing, Cap. I wouldn't.
So I'm sitting there playing my game because we moved right at the same time that Ghost Recon Breakpoint released.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I gotta say, what a shitty game to have to play to keep your mind off the fact that you were living in a hellhole. Because the game, when it launched, was nothing but bugs.
Yeah,
So I'm sitting there playing this game. Every 20 minutes, I have to stop playing because I get booted off the Wi-Fi because they keep changing. I don't even know what they did, but they had it set up so that every 20 minutes the Wi-Fi would refresh and you would have to log back in.
bro. What the fuck?
Yeah, like I said, shithole. So I'm sitting there playing. I get booted again, getting a little angry, and then I smell it. So I get up, walk over. Actually, wasn't even getting up and walking over. The room was small enough that I literally just rotated in my chair and I was already right there on top of the litter box. And I go to scoop litter on it and I'm like, okay, this is going to be a problem. Literally, she had managed to not just get poop on the wall, she had gotten it on the wall higher than her asshole could reach. So, I mean, that literally means she practically backed her ass up against the wall, put her back legs on the wall almost, and just shot it like a shotgun blast.
Poor cat, dude. I swear.
I felt a little bad for her, but I mostly was considering putting her in the dumpster out back. Because when your cat's
Dumpster.
broke that bad, you throw that shit away.
Oh my god. And look, so Salsa's told me this story before. So like this isn't the first time I hear it, but every time I hear it, it always cracks me the fuck up. Obviously, I feel bad for Salsa having to live in that, living in the equivalent of a slum. But oh man,
It was a trying experience. Let's just say that.
it's just oh man. Well, one of the things that cracks me up too is like, I mean, how long were you there again? Like, I can't remember how long you were even in the hotel.
A little under 30 days.
Almost a full month.
Yep.
Gee,
Almost a full month of, and don't get me wrong, I love hotels. Anytime I go on vacation, I love hotels because I love the long hallways. I love how quiet it is, how you can just use the AC to your heart's content and no one will say shit about it.
right.
You know, the pool in the lobby or the fucking, no matter where you go in the hotel, you can faintly smell chlorine. Perfect. You go into your room, empty closet, empty dressers, just it's a blank slate. There is no past, but an infinite present.
Like liminal spaces.
Exactly, liminal spaces. That's what it is. And I love it. But when you spend 30 days in a hotel, you very quickly start to lose your mind. Because for the first 10, I didn't have my truck. They had yet to ship it to us. So for the first 10 days, I did nothing, literally nothing. I just sat in my room. I would eat during lunch and dinner, and the rest of the day, I would just watch TV, play games, sometimes just sit there and look out the window at the parking lot.
Look over at the cookout.
Oh, uh, funny enough, I couldn't see the cookout from my window because they had placed me in a back room, which faced out at just 10 trees and a parking lot.
Nice.
Unfortunately, it was also right above the smoking bodega.
Oh, so you got that nicotine coming up in there?
Oh, yeah. Bodega may not be the right word. Bodega implies selling. It's more like a smoking pergola. Like, it was literally just like a roof with 4 poles holding it up and 20 people under there at any given moment, just ripping fat boofs off of the smelliest cigarellos.
They smoking them Newports.
Motherfucker, that's high class for these folk.
they smoking them swishes.
I knew a guy who unironically bought Swishers.
Not really.
I I don't even remember why. I think it's because he saw on it cigarillo, so he assumed that meant fancy.
Bro.
I was just like, what the fuck are you on, man?
Listen, I'm not gonna speak on well, I guess it really doesn't matter, but yeah, most of the time if if you're buying cigarillos, you know what you know what they're being used for. they're not being they're not being used for your standard smoking pleasure. They're being used for some pretty dank blunts.
Uh, well, where was I?
You were talking about the your room being right above the pergola.
Ah, yes. So yeah, couldn't open my window because it would smell like nicotine and whatever else they put in that shit. Rat poison, basically.
They have to they put some kind of like flavoring in there to make it like taste better. I don't exactly know how or what, but they do something.
Yeah, camel piss.
Oh Lord.
So first 10 days, that's all I did. For the 20 days after that, though, I don't think, even with my truck there, I barely did anything. One, because my truck is a piece of shit, and I never trusted it on highways.
Right.
But also because I still had Indiana license plate, Indiana driver's license. So if I got pulled over, they were gonna be like, "Oh, what the fuck are you doing?" And I'd be like, "Oh, and I didn't want to deal with the police. I
Well, they
have the
wouldn't pull you over. You say to them, "I just moved here. You can even say, because I think you have like 30 days, or no, you don't even have to. I think you have like 30 days from when you find permanent residence. So, I mean,
Yeah, I know the whole 30 days thing. Problem wasn't that. It was mostly that I don't want to have to deal with the police at all. You hear me?
I feel you, but I don't think there would have been any
No,
issues.
no, 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 no. Hold on. I have a face.
You
And
do have a face, yes. You indeed have a face on you.
and the face I have is often misconstrued as that of a how you would say domestic terrorist.
Okay, you know what? You're right about that. I think now would be a good time to tell them the story of your airport experience.
Oh yeah. So anytime I go to an airport, I am almost always quote unquote randomly selected for a more detailed. And I know what it is. They look at me and they see the beard, the dead look in my eyes, and they just assume this man means to cause us harm. So first time I got on an airplane was a long time ago. Back then, I was a kid, so they were like, whatever, let him through. First time after that, though, I pull up and I had just gotten my driver's, I want to say permit. So I had the printout version they give you.
Right.
I had yet to receive the the plastic card. So I roll up and I literally show them. I'm like, all right, here's my identification. Here's my ticket. Let me through. Guy looks at this printed out ID with an official emblem from the DMV or DM whatever. And he just looks me in the eye and says, yeah, we're going to need to give you a, what do you call it? A detailed inspection.
That means bend over and cough, boy.
I mean, it literally meant you're going to come over here, remove your shoes, your shirt. You're going to stand here in your undershirt and your jeans. We're going to unbutton your pants and feel your balls. We are
Jesus.
going to literally, I remember them running their hands through my waistband, grabbing my ass.
Damn.
And I'm just like, what the fuck? First off, I'm white. I was told this would not happen. If there's one thing I've learned from movies, it's white people never get randomly selected. So
Oh,
that
geez.
so that was a lie. But of course they found nothing. And before we even got on the plane, when we arrived at the terminal, I realized I had my favorite fold-out box cutter on me.
Oh my god, I remember that. And you just had to fucking throw it away. You
Yeah,
dumbass.
I was like, what the fuck? Because I knew there was no way they're gonna let me just put it in my bag.
Right.
Now
Yeah, you
it.
have checked luggage. I'm pretty sure you can, but we
Oh
didn't
yeah, I
have
could
check.
have.
We just had carry on.
Yeah, because we were poor. We couldn't afford checked luggage back then.
Yeah, for real.
So of course, get on the plane, whatever. On the way back, same scenario. Here's my paper ID. We're gonna finger your asshole. Okay. So they do their business. Uh, it gets me on the forehead and send me my way.
Uh,
I assumed at the time it was just because of the paper ID. So next time I have a driver's license, full everything. I pull up, I show them my license, and again, they're all right, we're gonna have to give you a thorough inspection. I'm like, what the fuck? I just watched you let 5 people through, not inspect any of them, but you're going to inspect me. Whatever. So I get in there, they do the same thing, they fondle my balls, tickle my taint, and then as I'm standing there being subjected to this, I look over and I'm watching TSA continue to just let people through without inspecting them. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was told you guys exclusively pick out Middle Eastern people. I don't know where this joke was going. I don't I don't want to make a racy joke and it turn out sounding racist. It's the joke in all the movies, you know.
Right.
Middle Eastern guy pulls up, gets TSA checked because Middle Eastern people are suicide bombers. It's never really funny. Maybe
But
the first time they did it in a movie, it was kind of funny.
it's actually it's sort of like an unfortunate reality. I mean,
It really is.
yeah.
Imagine something you can't control, whether it's your religion or your ethnicity, and that's just the reason you're constantly having to have a TSA guy go knuckles deep in your asshole.
It's a struggle, and for you, they're just like, yeah, you look like the guy who you look like the Oklahoma City bomber, or you look the guy who shot up Columbine or whatever.
I was gonna say that's putting it lightly.
I couldn't help but notice that your name didn't say Claybold.
So I absolutely identify with anyone who's ever been unfairly picked out by the TSA. Every time I go to the airport, it happens to me. Even if I'm not going through TSA, if I'm just there to pick up someone from the airport, they fucking finger me.
How do they do that if you're like in your car? Do they like get out of the car?
At that point, they call in the local police and have them do it.
Fair. Oh damn.
I don't know if it's a humiliation fetish or what, but these motherfuckers go out of their way to harass me.
Oh Lord. Here's the weird thing too is it's like, I have like a darker complexion. But me and my wife is Hispanic, and we've never ever had any issues with that before. I mean, she's been flying for as long as as long as she's been alive. But yeah, neither of us have ever been pulled by TSA. So I think I think what it is, because if you've never seen Salsa's like over 6 foot, pretty burly. He's got a big beard. So I mean, I can see how one would think that he is up to no good.
Okay, now it's a little hurtful, but
Yeah.
I think the reason neither of you ever get picked out by TSA is literally you both, despite your complexions, are peak just white people.
True.
You walk through TSA wearing an anime t-shirt. She walks, an anime t-shirt and cargo shorts.
True. That's typically what I wear.
And she walks through TSA in Ugg boots, yoga pants, and holding a frappuccino.
I'm pretty sure she has indeed worn Ugg boots before. That's not a lie.
And I know she fucking loves Starbucks.
She does. She likes her Starbucks on occasion. Her Starbies.
The fact that you even said that just confirms all my suspicions. But I mean that's literally, if you ever want to get by TSA, and I'm not encouraging you to try to bypass TSA. For example, this is not advice for a bomber.
Damn.
But in a hypothetical scenario, if you were to want to avoid the TSA or not have them, brush your prostate, you just walk up and do the most white people thing imaginable. For example,
can I
have
speak to your
Starbucks.
manager?
Yeah, exactly. Can I speak to your manager? That's another good one. The minute you say that, they'll just push you through. They won't even put you in the X-ray machine. They'll just be like, get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
Like, fucking white people. I may be white, but there's a difference between being Caucasian and being a white person.
There's a difference between being Caucasian and being a white person. I don't think I've ever heard that one before, but I know what you mean.
I'm sure as fuck Caucasian. Pasty as hell. But I'll be damned if I'm ever a white person.
Oh shit.
And none of that spicy white shit. No. That's dumb.
Sorry, folks. 1 second. I'm responding to a email real quick.
I wonder how many other podcasts are done while one of the people in the podcast is actively working.
I mean, I can't comment on that because I'm not working. Who said I was working?
Yeah, I'm not working. Oh yeah, no.
Anyways,
Just in the background. Can I take your order?
Hi, welcome to McDonald's. You would like to try?
I don't know how the fuck you just did that, but that sounded identical to a McDonald's drive-through.
Let me correct that. What the fuck do you want?
No, that's Taco Bell.
True. I can't remember where it was. I went to McDonald's once. Oh, so fun fact. So my wife, she went to college, and so we had a little bit of a long distance relationship. And on the way, I drove her to college one time. It's about 2.5 hours away from where I used to live. And so she would come down on the weekend, with a friend of mine who went to the same college. So they would carpool down together because they lived in the same area. And then I would take her back.
Oh no.
Salsa, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Sorry, for whatever reason my thing is being like stupid. Where was I? What was I saying?
Let's see. You just started talking about. I don't know. It was weird. You're like, my fiance. She, just outside of our where we live, the town. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, let me just start over. So, if you didn't hear what I was saying before, basically, me and my wife, when we were dating, she went away to college, so we had a long distance relationship for a few years. And what would happen is she would come back to where I lived with a friend of mine who went to college in the same place, but would come home on the weekends to work. So, she always had a ride back, and then I would just take her back to work or back to school on Sunday or Monday or whatever day she needed to be back. Um, let's see. What was I going to say? Oh, and I remember one time on the way back, it was super late, but I was hungry. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And this is back when McDonald's were actually like 24 hours, because a lot of McDonald's aren't actually 24 hours anymore, because of COVID. But this McDonald's is actually 24 hours. So I dropped in to get some food, and I sat in the drive-thru for like 4 minutes, and like no one was there. Like I thought they were closed, but like it said 24 hours, and like they had like the lights on and stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm assuming they're here. And so like after like 4 or 5 minutes, like someone finally like comes over the thing. They're like, "Go ahead." I'm like,
That's not very friendly.
right? That's not very friendly. Say, isn't the slogan "Ba da ba ba ba"? I'm loving it. I mean,
Like in a Boston accent, ba da ba ba ba. Go fuck yourself.
essentially, dude. And like, don't get me wrong, like I don't expect them to be happy and chipper. I mean, they're literally working slave wages for a corporation that could not give less than a single fuck about them. So I don't blame them for being a little pissed off. But I was hungry, man. I need me some food. So I was like, yeah, man, I just need to order whatever the fuck I needed. I pulled up to the first window, and the person sat there with the window closed for like 5 minutes. I don't know if they were just hoping that I would just drive away or what. But she finally opened the door, and she's like, "Have you been helped?"
Oh, do you not remember not helping me?
I literally said, "No, I need to pay." And she's like, "Oh," and she's like, "What did you have?" I'm trying really hard not to like be an asshole. I was tired. I was hungry. And I was like, well, I said, I ordered with the guy back there. I said, I ordered X, Y, and Z things and a drink and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, yeah. I see. She's like, okay, it'll be X number of dollars. Hand her cash or whatever. And I paid, pulled up to the second window. And then I sat there for like another 5 minutes. And I'm just like, bro, it's like they really like they have my money now. I can't leave.
At this point, I am literally X number of dollars invested in this.
Right. Like at this juncture, if I leave, I'm out money. I'm out money. I'm out my time, which is bad enough. So like I gotta wait it out. So 5 minutes goes by, nothing. Another 5 minutes goes by, nothing. The same woman from sorry, my brain just shorted out for a second. The same woman from the first window walks by and sees me and is like, what do you want?
What? The same woman who took your money is just like, what do you want? Weird man in our drive-through.
And I'm just like, I was like, at this point, like, is it worth it for me to continue to sit here or like, should I just leave? And so she comes over and she's like, have you been helped? And I'm like, no. I said, I have not been helped. I still need my food. And so she's like, oh, okay. And so I'm just sitting there, waiting, wishing. And yeah, so it's a good time. Finally, I get my food and I'm on my way. But God bless America, you would have really thought that I was asking a lot.
You gotta love that, you know. Don't get me wrong, I fully understand the feeling of working a dead end job for a corporation that doesn't care about you. The whole nine, like you said. But sometimes you just pull up and the first word that comes out of their mouth is entirely how the rest of the experience is gonna go.
It really is.
Like the other day, I was in I took someone to the hospital, a friend, and we were there until like 7 a.m.
Oh, is this the kidney stone?
Yep, the
Gotcha.
one I
Okay.
tweeted about.
Yep, that we talked about last time. Yep.
And we're leaving. It's like 7, 8 a.m. So we know almost every restaurant locally is open at that point.
Right. Well, most, if not all.
Yeah. So we pull up to Hardee's. Local Hardee's opens at like 6 a.m. So it's been open for an hour and a half about. No one's there, but we pull in the drive-through and we're just sitting there at the what would you call that? Radio?
Oh, like
Speaker.
the speaker. Yeah.
So we're sitting there at the speaker, probably 5 minutes, 5 to 10. It was hard telling. Time really was passing slow, especially after spending 14 hours in a hospital. So I'm sitting there, no response for almost 10 whole minutes. Guy finally gets on speaker and just says, "What?"
You're like, I beg your fucking pardon.
And at that point, I'm like, huh, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. So I'm like, whatever. We order. Guy doesn't even repeat back what we ordered, nor does he give me a price. He just says, okay.
You're like, wait. That's not the transaction. I need more information.
At this point, I'm like, are you an employee or did you just find the radio?
Did you just rob the place and you're just trying to make sure like that nobody knows? Like,
It's like that one fucking rapper who's always like, what? Okay.
oh man.
We pull up and the rest of the transaction, pretty normal. Nothing else out of the ordinary. But I couldn't find whoever it was who was just on the radio giving like 10% at their job. And that's the weirdest thing is normally the guy working the radio for the drive-thru is at the drive-thru window, at least one of them. But both of the drive-thru workers were women.
Really? So you're like, where the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, so there's just someone else in this restaurant working the speaker, and he just does not give a shit. But that's classic Hardee's for you. You go to McDonald's, you get a "How can I help you?" and a dead voice, and you can hear the depression. You go to Hardee's though, it's just 10% is awfully high for what you're getting for that price. In fact, if anything, I like to think of Hardee's as like the antithesis to Chick-fil-A. Whereas Chick-fil-A, they'll be like, "Oh, how can I help you? Are you having a Jesus-tastic day?" Hardee's will go out of their way to place a curse on you.
They've got their own like in-house like witch or something that's just like conjuring up the worst shit possible for you.
La Bruja.
Yeah, they got a bruja on there.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, like, and like, here's the worst part: is like, I love Hardee's. I think Hardee's is like they got some good shit sometimes, but I mean, I've been to some Hardee's that's just like, I mean, it would be a light phrase to say that like I've gone to a Hardee's and not feel threatened. Like I always feel intimidated going into a Hardee's. Like I don't think I've been to a Hardee's in a long time, just in person, but through the drive-thru, man, shit, I'm not about that life.
Eating food at Hardee's is a threatening experience. They don't ask you for your order. You pull up and they straight out threaten you and say, "I'm going to take your order." Like, okay, motherfucker, did you have to make it sound like a threat?
you're like, ugh.
I don't care much for Hardee's. Their food is okay, but
I like the French fries. I'm not much of a fry person normally, but I mean, I do like me some French fries occasionally.
I think that's just because most fast food joints, the fries go bad within 5 minutes of buying them. Like McDonald's, you can't eat that shit 5 minutes later. It's literally inconsumable human waste at that point.
You said what now? Sorry, I was doing something.
I said, if you go to McDonald's and buy French fries, 5 minutes later, it's inconsumable human waste. It's not even food at that point.
I'm gonna hit you with something that you're not probably gonna expect here, but I genuinely like McDonald's fries cold. Like I don't know why, but I do.
Normally, I don't advocate for removing a person's human rights, but you're really testing that faith.
You're like, listen, you're about to lose your living privileges.
Oh, I think we're we're about near the end of this podcast. We've hit all the usual staples: food, my haunted house, the ethical implications of removing someone's human rights.
being having human right violations at TSA.
Listen, man, I'm used to the discrimination nowadays. Moving into this neighborhood was really an interesting example of what it's like to be a minority.
And see, like folks, like when he says that, like he lives in a predominantly African American area, so him being a pasty white person is he would be considered a minority in this case.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the makeup around here is about 72% African American. I forget what percentage is Hispanic and how much is. There's very few Asian people here, whether it's uh, Eastern Asian or Pacific Asian. But I mean, white people barely make 5% here. I would. That's a guess. I have not looked at the official numbers, but literally all the white people in this town have segregated themselves to like a little weird neighborhood of tiny houses. It's weird.
Oh yeah, I've driven through there that one time we were down there, and
Yep.
it's like in the downtown area, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, not downtown. It's a little away from like the downtown. It's more like the uptown in a way.
I'm an uptown girl.
Yes, exactly. But like it's that place where they have like the white people tacos.
Oh, I got you. So not the good shit, the bad shit.
Yeah. Instead of being like, ah yes, I'll have the barbacoa on a traditional corn tortilla, and you literally cook this in a hole out back. It's more like, oh yeah, welcome to X, Y, and Z taco place with a dumb gimmick. Would you like a taco that is literally biscuit and macaroni and cheese?
Like I'm sure it tastes good, but bro, that's not a taco.
That's literally what I mean when there's a difference between Caucasian and white. Like I'm Caucasian. I eat at real taco places.
You're like, but that's aggressively white.
Oh yeah. Like these motherfuckers were like, "Oh, do you want to try our chips and queso?" And you order it, and it's like, "Oh yeah, it comes in 3 flavors of queso. It's a sampler." And none of them are just like a good queso. It's all like, "This one's made with a little bit of cheese whiz. That one, ooh, that's Colby Jack." It's like, "You
Oh,
motherfuckers, just bring me queso."
and they're like, and for a little bit of zest, we use Mexican blend in that one.
And they never bring you tortilla chips. They bring you blue tortilla strips.
What the fuck?
Like it's like I don't know who started this restaurant. Who thought this would be a good idea? But whoever it was, I am actively encouraging them to stop living. But there is a good restaurant over there. That tap house place.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I remember. Fuck, I don't remember who told me, but somebody else from down there told me about that, and I was like, "Shit!" I think we were gonna. One of the last times we came down, we were gonna go, but COVID ended up spiking a little bit, so
Yeah.
we're like, "Yeah, let's maybe not."
I'll tell you, it reminds me a lot of the brewery down by the river that makes that really good beer I like. Champagne
Oh,
Velvet.
yeah. Well, since neither of us live there anymore, I think we could safely say what restaurant it is.
I
Um,
mean, yeah.
fuck, what is it called? Upland Brewery?
Yeah. Not that we don't live there, we can name it. If only I could.
Right. If only yeah, the Upland Brewery. So if you're ever in the Columbus area, go try out Upland Brewery. It's actually pretty good. And yeah, the Champagne Velvet's excellent. I would definitely recommend that. It's a good lager.
Oh yeah. Next time you come down, you need to bring us some because you can't find that shit anywhere around here.
Really? Do you guys have like Kroger's and stuff?
No, we don't have Kroger's. We have Harris Teeters, which are
Oh,
owned by the same company, but not nearly as good as the Kroger we used to have.
yeah, the Kroger that you because I mean up here where I'm at, we just have Paylesses and Rulers.
Ooh,
Um,
that's sad.
yeah, I mean don't get me wrong, the Paylesses are nice. It's just but they don't have the same like just diversity as Kroger's did. Like the Kroger's had like so much shit.
Oh yeah. Like the cheese section, I love that. Any time of the day I
Yeah.
could go there 24/7 and just buy a good container of blue cheese stuffed olives.
Damn.
Fresh, crisp. But yeah, point is it's kind of the same restaurants in that like you go there, you buy a $30 steak and it comes served over a bed of something like a butternut squash puree. Sounds
Mm.
weird, but ends up being really delicious somehow. I
Yeah,
don't know.
hey man, squash makes its way into a lot of dishes and it's really good, honestly.
Uh, but yeah, we should probably wrap up. We've been going for a while.
We have, but anyhow. So, all right, folks. here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up. So we had a good conversation today. We kind of jumped a little all over the place, but honestly, those are my favorite podcasts that we do because we talk about a lot of different stuff. We just talk about what's happening in life right now. For people who have been listening for a while, we do talk about gaming related stuff occasionally, but it's just one of those things where when we do a podcast, we just want to have a good time, talk about stuff that's entertaining and everything else. So that's why we kind of changed over to the Speedcast rather than calling it a gaming podcast. So if you are, if you're curious about all this, then just keep listening. But anyways, so for those of you who are still listening, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. Follow us on social media, all that good shit. All that stuff is in the description and at the end of the video. Get us to 200 subscribers. We're really close. I think we're like at the time of this podcast. Let me check real quick. We are at 193 subscribers, so we're like 7 away. So if you haven't already, subscribe. But I'll go ahead and let Salsa close us out.
Only advice I have is if you ever feel like you don't get enough attention in life, just grow yourself a big bushy beard and go to an airport. They will take care of that. No problem.